So, I haven't done this in a while, but I was asked a little bit ago about Tic Talks. So, things kind of usually have to happen in order for you to have little epiphanies about Tourette's. And one of the things I've been finding out is, or maybe just dealing with, I don't really have a plan to this whole talk, but I've become more and more open about Tourette's and telling people kind of up front, hey, I have Tourette's, and this, that, and the other, and they get the the whole blinky, the physical aspects of it. They grasp that, but what they don't grasp, and what I've mentioned in the past, is the neurological things that go along with Tourette's, and how they can it can be damaging to people and relationships, and it makes it hard. I tell people I'm a hard pill to swallow, because they see that exterior, and it's kind of it's kind of gnarly. It's got rough edges, and even though at times I seem to be just pretty normal with a lot of things, but there's times when I come at people kind of sideways, and sometimes I don't even know it. But it's like I tell people, like, hey, I have Tourette's, I have this, I have that, and then it's like also say, I tend to say things that a lot of people don't well, a lot of people think just like I'm being a dick, or some kind of rude, and a lot of times it's like not me trying to be rude or disrespectful. I'm simply just sometimes just a reaction happens, and no matter how conscious and present I am, things can still go awry. I can still throw a 180 and be like, and not even know it. Like my brain changes channels quickly sometimes, and sometimes I catch it, sometimes I don't. But people are like, they're taken back. You're like, where did you come up with this, or why are you being this way? And sometimes I have to go back and put those pieces of the puzzle that I missed about myself, and go, oh. And it usually takes a day sometimes, like I might think about it and be like, oh, wow, I now realize what that sounded like. And so now, so I started calling, texting people like, hey, I really apologize about this, whatever, because they don't know. And even though I tell them, I say things sometimes randomly that make no sense whatsoever. They, and it can be rude sometimes, or just what's the word I'm looking for? Or sarcastic. I have a sarcastic side. Pretty, anybody that knows me, I've definitely got a sarcastic side. But I've been trying to curb that. But it comes off as me being disrespectful or rude or a dick or something, and they tend to forget that, and it's hard for me to go, hey, look, that was a Tourette moment, because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just use your Tourette's as an excuse to be whatever. And it's like, it's not an excuse, it simply just is. People over the last few years, I've worked very diligently to become conscious of what I do and how I do things, but that doesn't mean, and Tourette's has, like, what most people see now is like a 2 or a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10, where this used to be I mean, it was like ridiculous I could never even get close to this. And so, but the thing that people my thoughts are, people tend to forget I have Tourette's. They see the blinky blinks and whatever's, but they don't. I think they forget that there is more to it, and it makes it hard, especially when I'm trying to get to know someone new that doesn't know me. People that know me, they're like, they've been around me a long time, and a lot of them because they've had to, and they've had to endure that learning process of what it means to be in my life or have me in their life, whatever. And then after a while, they're like, oh, it's just Trent. But new people tend to, write it off as me just being an ass, and I'm not being an ass. I mean, sometimes, I can be. Don't get me wrong. I can be a total jerk, douchebag, asshole, but I try not to be, and especially with people that I'm just meeting, I'm like, hey, look, here's the deal. But it never stops, and people don't realize that Tourette's never stops. It never ends. It's like someone with Down syndrome or cerebral palsy or any other kind of affliction. It never stops, and no matter what the surface looks like, it's always happening. It's always going on in here and in here, especially here. Here's where all the neurological stuff happens, is here, and people just kind of like I said, I think they just forget that I can just say random things, and then it's easy for them to just be like, he's just a dick. It's like when people ask me, people have asked me why what's the longest relationship you ever been in? I'm like 3 months maybe, or 6 tops, and but most of them have been because it's gotten to a point where they're just like they can't deal with that process of getting through that outer layer, and it takes a while. It takes a minute to get through that because I've had a wall for so long that it slowly comes down, but it's they're still there, and I'm always kind of wondering what's this person thinking. I'm trying not to be offensive, but there's just times when I am, and so it's like got some notes. I'm trying to remember my brain. And so like my brain can switch channels, like just like that. Like all of a sudden, I'm talking, and then I just squirrel, and it's like total left field, and people are like, "Whoa, where did you come up with that? What are you talking about?" Or and I actually did this at my son's wedding when they filmed people for doing like, hey, give us some words of wisdom, and I was kind of rattling stuff because I had this great speech for him. I talked, and I kind of thought about it, and everybody's like, man, I love your speech, it's great. And then I get on this camera, and it's like, I'm like, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, and I just completely made a U-turn and said something really off the wall, and then it's like I got back on track, and it was like, and I knew it when it happened. It's like, holy crap, that sounded. They're going to laugh their asses off. Like my godson, he's gonna get it. He more likely he's like, okay, that's just Trent. But his new wife, she's like, that dude's kind of whack. I don't know what I think about him because anyway. But yeah, it never stops. It never quits. It never ends. And that's what I have a hard time getting through to people, is that it never stops. Even though this is calm, maybe, and I'm not, even if I'm not doing the twitchy ticks, there's always something. There's always a wire that may just not be connecting, and it does, and it doesn't. Maybe and it's always kind of doing this thing. And sometimes when it disconnects, it doesn't have to disconnect much. all it's got to do is disconnect. It's like a wire in your house. If it just even a little, then the connection's gone, and boom, you don't have power, or you lose something. And I lose things. And when I do those things like that, I don't always hear things either. Like, I don't hear what people say because I'm ticking. And it has happened to me last week, or so. I was out with some friends, and they said, "Didn't you hear her say that? Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, I didn't hear that." There's a good chance I was ticking, and I just was completely like, duh. I did not hear what they said. So again, I'm always kind of going back to put pieces of the puzzle that I've missed into place so I can figure out what I did, because a lot of people don't tell me. And that's where things get difficult for me, is people don't speak up. And I tell them, like, hey, tell me when there's a lot of people writing in. Thank you. But there's a lot of people that I just lost my train of thought. So I just distracted. Anyway, yeah, that's something that happens too. I get completely like off the side, and then eventually I'll come back and figure it out. But I think I think where I was at was I was going with people that don't know me. Oh yeah, they don't say anything. No one says things. Like, if I say something and it comes at them sideways, I think they treat me kind of like everybody else, which is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, there's that part. It's like, where did that come from? And if someone would say, hey, where did that come from? Like, literally speak the words that come to your mind. Hey, what the hell was that? And I'm like, oh, that was a Tourette moment. I'm sorry. I'm like, and then I can go back and I can hopefully fix things, because there's times when people say something and I don't get to fix it. And it makes it hard, because I'm like, I was really not trying to damage this, but I did, and I didn't get the opportunity to fix that and explain it. And so that just kind of makes it hard. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much about stuff. So, that, Tic Talk, whatever this is, but it's on the state. So hopefully this gives people that I know and love, and that people that know and love me, a little bit of insight on how, it's okay to ask me. It's okay to say, hey, that sounded really rude, or that sounded really mean, or I'm not real sure how to take that, especially in text. God, I hate text, because I'm joking. I like to joke and laugh. Laughter is, I've come to a conclusion that is one of my tics. And so that is one of those things where I like to joke, I like to laugh, I like to have fun. And sometimes that I get a little carried away. But if people would be willing to ask, I'm always willing to say, oh no, or explain what it is that I meant, or maybe that I didn't mean. So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful to some people. Thank everyone for writing, and I'll go back and read what everybody said. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, and maybe this can help you with yourself or with someone else, even without Tourette's. Anyway, good night, and love everybody.